Fill her up!
You're listening to the GaS Digital Network.
Why is him and Paco obsessed with making me uncomfortable with gay jokes?
It's insane that you are uncomfortable. It's like literally insane. And shows an amount of insecurity on your part, I think.
Well...
Are you rolling? Welcome to GaS Digital Now, the GaS Digital wrap-up show. This is a different episode. Episode 2 of the new season, and we're already straying from the plot a little bit.
Yeah, for the new people here, yes, I am McLovin from the Maryland Foodie Boys.
Correct. And I am the sister from the middle.
Yeah.
And this is GaS Digital Now. What's her name? Someone help me out.
It's not Beth.
Sue.
Yeah, I'm Sue. Sue Heck. This week, the GaS Digital crew went to Jamaica, which is a more or less an annual tradition since I've started working here, except for Jorge, who decided to take the week off and fuck around and stay home and didn't do any work and didn't get anything done.
3 Jamaica trips in a row, he skips.
It's true. You skipped the last one, too, even though you did work here.
And the one before that, even though he didn't work here.
Well, he did go to the Poconos last year.
He could have come to any Jamaica trip he wanted.
He could have, 100%.
Making a scene.
100%. I remember being sad about it last time, too. So this is going to be a different episode. We're just going to recap what happened, get into all the details, all the lore.
And maybe even splice in some videos, too, from the trip.
Sure, absolutely.
That I'll then have to put in the Z drive for Natalie to edit.
Yes, please. First up, I want to give Jorge his present, in case he needs to leave partway through this. Get in here, boy.
Take the present, man.
Should we give him both of the 2 things that we got? Or should I keep
man.
one? Okay.
Welcome
Everyone,
to
welcome
Jamaica.
Jorge.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for coming in. We were sad that you weren't there, and Frank had the idea that someone should get you, or maybe it was Shannon, someone should get you a present, and so it was in the airport. That
place where you should get every present, where you obviously think about the person ahead of time, and you're like, I'm going to find the perfect thing, I just know it.
Well,
and it's for sure going to be at the airport. That's where I can get the most sentimental, most
personal, original, yes.
Yeah.
We
100%.
went to a gift shop, and honestly, this had more fun gift shoppy things at the airport than the place we went to in Jamaica.
I agree. There was a handmade thing that I would have gotten you if it was not like on clearance and like you could only pay for it in cash, and I had no cash on me, so you got these instead. Here you go. They made me think of you.
Uh-oh.
Fun ASMR moment. Oh, maybe don't read the receipt. Do you have a magnetic fridge?
I do.
Yeah.
It says no problem.
And it's the shape of Jamaica. Wow.
Except you had a lot of problems last week.
That's true. That's why I'm trying to bring this to you. So the reason we got you two is because we couldn't decide.
Wow. Am I that much of an entity where you're like, I can't pin down just one thing about this person?
Yeah, here, read the
There's gonna be
second one.
2. It says, Jamaica me crazy.
You do that to us.
Yeah, he does. That's why I thought of it as well.
Do you get it?
I get
people
it.
At home?
I get it.
Do you get it? You're not the people at home.
Okay, sorry.
You're at the studio, you silly goose.
I'm sorry. And then the
He's
last
making
thing,
us
really.
crazy.
The last one. 3 things?
You get 3 things.
So if there's 3 things, the 3 wise men, so it'd be you, and who's the third person?
Frank.
Frank?
Frank.
Okay.
No, Frank
Shannon is
specifically said
married.
he wasn't getting you anything because you didn't say you missed him. No, he was going to get you something, and he said, fuck that guy. He didn't miss me.
Remind me of the list that I made.
You said
too.
Alex, Karen, and John.
Yeah.
Alex was very touched that you
Yeah.
mentioned her.
Mhm.
And then we snuggled.
That was on purpose.
Go ahead.
I almost text her solo.
Oh, that's cute.
But then I was like, nah. All right, so the last one is I'm feeling...
You feeling what it's
feels
about?
like it's a magnet.
It's giving.
It's giving magnet.
Something about it attracts me. The official dance hall dictionary, a guide to Jamaican dialect and dance hall slang.
I thought you could use this for your press conferences.
Hey, Michael, man, are you ready for some doogu doogu?
What does it mean?
Sexual intercourse.
Wow. Incredible.
Is all it says in there.
Damn. I'm going to tell you how many keys you said that.
Not Karen?
No, not Karen. Karen's fun.
Ah, yes. Natalie. Natalie, girl. Ah, my little Crydell.
What does that mean?
Potty boy.
Derogatory. An unattractive girl.
Got my whole ass.
Can we have Jorge on the show instead?
No, he wasn't there, so he doesn't get to partake. You can't just sit here and read them the entire episode. You can sit out there and read.
I'm using that in real life.
You can sit out there and read it while you record.
When you
Oh, girl, put some respect on me. You think that we're quabs.
What does that mean?
Socially equal.
Oh, damn. Do they have example sentences?
Yeah, for that one was, we not quabs. And then it says, we are not social equals.
Wow.
And if you gave me quabs, I would also say that.
God, All right, everybody, practice safe sex. Don't forget to spay and neuter your blind coworkers.
That's true.
That is true.
Thank you for
And
the presents.
we'll talk about why.
Maybe
when
give
we
me the receipt.
reference
Why?
I don't
Are you going to
write?
write it off?
Tuesday night.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it off.
Aw.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jorge,
that's
for
pretty
being a
whack.
part of the world, and we wish you were there.
The book was like a little expensive.
Even when I was cranky in the airport, you showed me that, and I was like, "That's great. That's perfect."
Really? The book or the whole
Yeah, the
thing?
book.
Yeah, the book was perfect. The book made me think of you immediately. I feel like you would get entertainment out of that.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is that he kept giving us like, he was like, he just moved. We should give him a
Housewarming.
housewarming gift, like something you can display in your house. I was like, I doubt his girl wants like a Jamaican themed like key holder at the front door or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I don't have any interior design say.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So I feel like these you can enjoy, and a magnet that's a souvenir is like fair game, I think.
All
Now,
right.
when you say you have no interior design, does that mean mentally or physically?
There's nothing in there.
Nope. All there is fine dining and GaS Digital Network
Are you gonna dye your hair again?
at some point.
I was looking at old pictures and I was like, damn, Jorge's natural hair. That's crazy. It's been a while.
Dude, so while you guys were in Jamaica, most shows pre-recorded and like had something ready. The thing is, Ding did not have something ready and aired an episode from June of 2023. And everybody looked so weird and skinny and different. It was so disgusting.
Wait, what
Not
year was
Shannon's
this?
ass.
2023.
Just
Were you
Figs-
in it?
Yeah. Figs looks like a skinny mini.
Wow.
Like it is. He doesn't look like the same person.
Holy shit.
would you argue that something went wrong?
No. I
Oh.
think Figs is where he should be at in life. Everything happens for a reason.
That's not the name of this podcast.
Oh no.
John just texted the Jamaica group, anyone else get pink eye?
No,
I'm going to say.
not yet.
Uh-oh.
Although Tom was a pink guy on the trip.
Hey. Let the man live. He tans well, all right?
That's not what the saying was.
Ah, fuck.
Pretty sick tans.
Yeah, he does have some pretty sick tans.
Oh.
You've seen me some pretty sick tans.
Got him.
I said that you did, JK. They always look like that. Let's get on track, please. Can we please get back on track?
All right, thank you guys. Yeah.
Thanks, Jorge.
Thank you, Jorge.
I hope you liked your gift. They were picked with love.
Truly.
Can we talk about
And a little bit of hate.
Yes, with a little bit of hate as well. Can we talk about the fact that Mike got me child-sized water shoes?
Not yet. We should
Okay.
go in some so.
I want
semblance
you
of
to lead
order.
this one because you know where we're going. You have thoughts on what the trajectory of the episode is going to be.
I guess, but actually, I wrote these all out of order, so maybe
Okay.
we can talk about that.
Alrighty, day one.
Because that is technically before the trip started. So the day before we left, I went to Target to buy myself some water shoes, and Natalie, because she
Requested. I
have
forgot that
any.
I didn't have any.
And so I went to Target and I went and saw the small sizes and I was like, this fits me. And I'm like, it must fit Natalie too, because if these are a little big on me and they're small, then that's going to be the same for the women's sizes.
Right.
And what were they?
They were women's size. He called me and he said, I'm getting a small and they're a little big on me and they're the same size, men and women.
I didn't try them on.
He said that that the men's and the women's are the same size. I was like, oh, if they're unisex and the small is too big for you, then I will absolutely take a small. Are you sure? And he goes, yes. And it turns out that there were men's and women's. And a women's small is way too small for me, a woman.
6.
It was a woman's 6, and I'm an 8. So that is 2 sizes too small.
Which is funny because everyone calls you an 8, but you're more like a 6.
It was so hurtful, it actually made me laugh. Yes.
I'm kidding.
So
Day 1, we land in Jamaica.
Day 1, we leave at the ass crack of dawn. A bunch of us are on my flight from Newark. Mike's in the flight from LaGuardia or whatever, JFK. And we get there. It is so much easier to go through customs than it normally is. The difference is incredible. Like what they've done to the, airline system in Jamaica since the last time we were there 2 years ago is unrecognizable. Zoomed through shit. Sat at the Groovy Grouper while we waited for everyone to come out. That's the little restaurant outside of the airport in Jamaica in Montego Bay.
And I'll say this. Lewis made a comment at the Groovy Grouper to me that made me self-conscious for the rest of the trip.
What was that? Oh, about your armpits?
Yeah, he went, I don't like seeing blind Mike's armpits.
He said they're too
hairy. Because I had just raised them above my head and my armpit hair started showing.
It is an unsettling amount.
And so every time that's the problem is now I can't shave them and I'm in a beach chair. And what is your natural position when you're in a beach chair but this?
Yeah.
So they're just displaying to the world. So I was
Who cares? You're a grown man. You should have armpit hair. I don't think you should feel bad about it.
It was gross.
You've never thought it was gross before.
And now I'm self-conscious. That's how that works.
I also knew that Lewis saw our final episode, so I knew that he knew that we were dating, and also liked my post. But he hadn't said anything until we were sitting outside of the Groovy Grouper waiting for everyone to come out. And he was like, your boyfriend's going to be here. He's like, are you going to share it on camera? It doesn't look that crazy. He's like, are you sharing a room with your boyfriend on this trip? And I was like, I was planning to save you guys room because we were taking one for the team. We'll do a solid. That is why, and this is the one little tidbit of actual show content that we're going to talk about this week. He told me before we got in here that they did mention us on Laz this week. And Shannon correctly noted that the reason that we announced it now is so that we could share a room in Jamaica. That's part of the reason.
And it was worth it.
And it was so worth it. It was great. It was great sharing a room. And also having a room that's just the two of us was someone that I have had sleepovers with, opposed to having a sleepover with Becca, who we're kind of tiptoeing around.
Yeah. It wasn't like the 3 interns that had to share a fucking room.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, what was it? Jake, Brandon, and Dom?
Yeah.
So, yes, we gather everyone. We take the hour trip in the vans to the villa that we always go to in, Runaway Bay? Something like that?
Yeah.
And now, so usually it's one big villa and a little annex that has 2 rooms in it. And then another villa on the other side, and in between is a 2-bed little house. And now Lewis has that little house. So now we're taking over the whole thing, and it's all us. And it was so nice. And then Lewis also was making jokes that no one could walk on his lawn. There was once that he was like, if you want to go past my house, you have to go around. And there was once that, right before dinner on the first night, I walked across. I went, haha, I'm in Lewis land, not knowing that he was in his house. And he just opens the door and sticks his head out. And he's like, hey, get off my lawn. And I'm like, ah. And I just run off.
That's so funny.
So we always eat dinner in the big house. at a table outside, a big long table outside. So breakfast and dinner is served. Shout out, why can't I think of her name? Miss Janet.
Yeah.
Miss Janet is in charge of cooking, and she has her usual staff that work with her, and it's always the same people every year, which is very cool. There's 2 pools, and it's on the beach. So you have steps down onto the beach as well, which is more or less private. The water the first day was kind of cloudy.
Let's talk about it, because there was a big debate about this.
Oh, compared to last time? Or
No,
just...
the big debate.
What was the big debate?
So every year, Tom seems to somehow get into some kind of heated exchange with Lewis about numbers in regards to something involving our vacation.
I forgot.
Last year, it was the price of the Airbnb we stayed at, like real estate value if we were to sell it on the market. And this year, it was what the temperature of the ocean water was.
So the ocean water was like, during the day, pretty warm. I would say warmer than the pools, for sure. Got a little cooler at night, and everyone was going, it's hot, probably 80 degrees, something like that. Maybe 75 at night. We Googled it extensively. Looked it up extensively, and Tom was determined that it was about 63 degrees. Has anyone ever been in a pool before? Has anyone ever checked a thermometer in a pool? 63 degrees is what it would be in March. Like, if you opened your pool right now, it would probably be 63 degrees.
Not on an
hot, sunny island ocean that feels warm compared to the air. Every single person said 70, 80 degrees, something like that. Tom would not have it. Would not have it.
Couldn't budge.
Could not budge. We took it easy the first day. We pretty much just got settled, hung by the pool, drank Red Stripes, ate dinner, and then after dinner we were hanging out in the big room where we always hang out, and I think we started with Mafia.
Yeah.
But then we decided to play Story Wars.
That was fun.
Which was really fun.
It would have been better, honestly, if there were less people, but it was still fun.
It was still fun. I agree. I if you guys haven't seen the show Story Wars, you give in stories that are true, and then usually there's 5 of them,
and
or I think there's always been 5 of them.
A panel tries to decide whose story it is.
So it's one of their
deception.
stories. So if it's your story, you have to play it cool like it's not. And then everyone else is trying to guess whose it is.
Our theme was religion.
That was hard for me. I assumed
knew
it would
what
be
Natalie's
easy.
Story was.
I assumed it would be easy for you because you have a lot. You go to church camp a lot.
And in Story Wars fashion, I pretended like I didn't know what the story was and tried to get people to not pick her, and then picked her myself.
Right. That's smart.
It was so great too because they went when we were going around. Lewis started next to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like Becca was sitting next to me and went Becca, and then the other way around, which is perfect. So,
you
I
got
could
to
vote
call
for
me
you.
out at the end.
Yeah.
I should have done that with you because can you read your story out loud?
My story was the first time I smoked cigarettes was at a church event, and it gave me jitters for the whole night.
Like you stayed up all night.
Yeah.
And then people threw out different names. I was like, this sounds like a Mike story. He went to church camp a lot.
And I fooled the story warriors.
He really did. Alex and G Mike were the hot competitors.
I was in almost last place, and then thanks to double points, I got second place.
Yeah, that was.
And I
pretty
was
impressive.
in last place until the final story that was mine.
Yeah, I had a hard time. I had a really hard time coming up with a religion story because none of them were interesting or good at all. I went to church until I was like 10, but then I, stopped going because my parents got divorced. That was my one story that was read out loud. That was really fun. And then at night we hung out by the tree in the yard, which is the other place that we hang out, the tree by the beach with the lights, with the swing under it. And somehow we ended up asking everyone, what's the most romantic gesture that they've ever done?
That was because it started off with me telling you what I got you.
Talking
the
about
comic I drew.
The comic, yeah.
And then I was people were saying that I was that was very sweet of me, and so immediately I could not take the compliment and just deflected to asking Paco what the most romantic thing he ever did was.
Uno reversoed them.
I absolutely did, and it thankfully started a discussion that bled into the next morning.
Absolutely. So then the next day was Dunn's River Falls. Some of us have been there before. Had you been there? Did we go there last time?
I did not.
Did you like it? First thoughts?
Incredible.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was so fun. The water was weirdly warm at the beach.
Yeah.
Because it was the falls kind of like dump out into like the beach, so like there were like these weird warm patches and cold patches.
Yeah.
And then we climbed the falls, and it was somehow easier and harder than I thought.
Yeah, I said this at the time. I was like, if I could do this every day, I would be in great shape. And I remember thinking it when you and I over the summer went to like a natural waterfall in Pennsylvania that you climb up. All right, I got into this argument, or not an argument, with Lewis. I was like, this is totally man-made. And he's like, no, it's famous because it's not man-made. And there's a difference between man-made and 100% natural. It was kind of in the middle. It was a natural waterfall, and then they sort of built steps and rocks into it so that it was easier to climb.
Yes.
I just remember both times thinking, like, this feels very like, climbing up wet rocks feels very natural to me. So I might take out my friends on going rock climbing with them, I think. I'm not sure. Bless you. I loved it.
I almost fell.
We all took a couple spells.
No, but I mean, there was a moment where I was trying to climb up a spot, and I got into this hairy situation where I couldn't exactly get my footing on the next step, and then Becca was behind me, so I couldn't exactly go backwards either, because then she would fall.
Right.
And so I had to somehow wiggle, like, not wiggle, but like I had to somehow figure out a way to really stretch myself at the same time of also using my leg strength to overpower the water to pull myself up to the next spot. And that was really hard, because then I was using up all this cardio to even make the decision on what to do next.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I felt like I almost just like couldn't hold that cardio position anymore and fell, but luckily I'd made it.
Right. I was helping Jamaican ladies up the hill, and you know, she helped me first, and then I was like, I should return the favor and give her a hand.
How ironic is that? Because usually they're maids that are doing that to old people in America.
Damn. Worth it?
The joke?
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing we'll talk about. I bombed this entire... I don't think I got a single joke off this entire trip that made the entire room laugh. I mean, people were giving me dead stares every time I delivered a punchline, almost every single exchange.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and that's
They
what I admire
appreciated
about
it,
you.
but I definitely got mostly stares over laughs this whole trip.
So funny.
It was uncomfortable.
I can't think of any, but we came back in midday. What else happened at the falls?
Karen also almost fell, and she got saved.
Right. She said she called you specifically. She gave me a shout out too for like helping her up a couple times, but I wasn't there for the big one.
We found where Bobby hit his head really hard.
Right.
And then I was also gonna say,
I called it Bobby Hutchbridge.
Alex and Harrington. Oh, they were following a girl up the falls the entire way. Tom was being a creep to this 17-year-old
She
girl.
was definitely like 23. I think she just looked really young.
She was illegal. She was jailbait.
I don't think she was jailbait. I think there was this hot girl with a dude with the tightest shorts. I think they were European. I can't imagine why else a grown man with gray hair would wear such tiny shorts. But I was under the impression they were a couple.
Mm.
Like, I think she was probably in her 20s. I think she just looked young, but we couldn't decide.
Still,
but we were looking at her ass the whole time.
Yeah, they were still sniffing out the entire
it's so
way up,
gross,
and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
maybe that's what they needed, the motivation to get up that hill.
up the hill, exactly. So what happened to Karen specifically that was so story-worthy? Oh, well, we all took some falls.
But I will say, Alex and Harrington were also, there was like a little, what do you call it? Wedding?
Oh, like a chapel, a fake
not a chapel, but like a wedding thing where they
Arch.
where you could get married, and Alex and Harrington was like, should we just get married right now?
They
And I
were
was like,
thinking
Jesus
about
Christ.
it, but she didn't have her ID on her.
Yeah.
So it didn't work out. No one got in the gift village.
However, Lewis did buy a beer from a man in a parking lot.
That's funny. That seems on brand for him.
And Jake talked to that man in a Jamaican accent.
No.
Yeah.
No, Jake, no.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There was something else I was gonna say. I already forget. Oh, I ended up buying different shoes right before we got up there because the ones that Mike got me to close the circle on this were just so unbearably small that I was uncomfortable. On the way home, we came up. We threw up the idea of doing karaoke because Alex brought a karaoke machine, and then someone came up with the idea of doing GaS Digital. So that night after dinner, we decided to do GaS Digital.
Yes, ma'am.
Which everyone had to do a song except for the three judges, Frank, Lewis, and Ralph. And everyone had to do a song. And if they would say, you're going to Hollywood or you're not going to Hollywood. And if you did pass, you could choose your spot in the talent show, which would be the following day. Before we get to the big ones, what key performances do you think are worth highlighting?
So I put Becca's song that was targeted at Paco.
Grow a Pair by Kesha, good song. Even though she was 3 lines behind the entire time.
Here is the cinch. I signed up for a man, but you are just a bitch. You should know, but I just can't date a dude with a badge. When we fell in love, you made my heart rock, and you had me thinking about you nonstop.
Tom was the only one who sat down and sang some kind of weird religious song.
It was Elton John, Leave On. Like, not even, I guess it is a hit, but it's like not one of his well-known songs.
I'm afraid if we sent you to Hollywood, the fires would start up again.
G. Mike sang Tequila,
Oh,
which only
I forgot.
has 3 lines in it, and he didn't even nail them.
And he didn't nail it. He only nailed one of them. As soon as it started playing, I was like, this piece of
But
shit.
it was
I
a
knew he
funny
would do it.
concept.
It was a great
It was a very
concept.
G. Mike performance.
Right. If anyone remembers, last year Alex did Torn by Natalie Imbruglia.
And she did that again.
Yes.
Lying naked on the floor.
Mike here did
You're gonna go far, kid. And it was maybe my worst karaoke performance of all time.
it's a great song choice.
It was
but I
'cause
think
know the
you were-
lyrics.
But it seemed like you didn't know the lyrics because you were reading them.
Well, you don't understand.
Okay, go ahead.
I can't see the screen to perform to them where the lyrics are, so I have to go off my phone, which is not timed.
Right, I see what
With-
you're saying. I guess I shouldn't assume that just because you know the lyrics that you would know them exactly timing-wise. I guess that's not fair of me to judge you on.
So I can't read them off of Google because that also doesn't help with the timing. At least Apple Music
Plays it in order.
like
Like as the
highlights
songs-
it as it's going along, but that's still not exactly timed correctly, and so
Sure.
it's not my strong suit, but I try to sell it.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked that you sold it. I did Short Skirt, Long Jacket by Cake,
It was
which
good.
Lewis astutely noted. Cake is a great karaoke karaoke band to do because you don't have to sing.
Yes, was that your plan?
Yes.
I love that.
Goddamn right, that was my plan.
You hit every note with actual perfection.
Shannon did is it called Like a Pill by Pink? And she really didn't want to, but it was a great song choice.
First of all, I wasn't even listening. I was looking at those boobs.
Paco fell through a table.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I missed filming that.
Yeah, Paco was doing Big Balls by, who was it?
I wasn't there.
Oh, you completely missed it. Whatever. Led Zeppelin, one of those that I get confused. It might not be Led Zeppelin. But
So what happened? Because I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. I was in the kitchen getting a drink when he fell. I think he just slammed into a table. He was doing a dance move and he hit the table.
Knocked everyone's socks off.
So here's the thing. I talked to Dom ages ago in this studio. I didn't know, Dom's the newest person here, more or less.
By the end of this trip, he's technically
winning.
He's technically our third boss.
I think you're right. He was waiting with me to let the plumbers in one night at some point, and I was telling him about Jamaica, and I was telling him about the talent show, and I told him my karaoke story, which I've discussed at length on this show. My most embarrassing moment up to this point, not anymore, but it was about karaoke, and he goes, "I love karaoke." I go, "You should do it. I also love karaoke," and half the time I'm like too shy. And so even while we were climbing up Dunn's River Falls, I was asking like Tom what he was going to sing. And I went up to Dom. I was telling Tom that you love karaoke. He's like, "I do love karaoke. I'm excited about it." And I don't know Ambrosia that well. I don't remember what the song was. But I was like, he's going to be good. And he was. He's like regular guy good at singing. He's not like, he wouldn't win actual American Idol, but compared to the rest of us, he was a fucking great singer.
It was amazing.
It was awesome.
Incredible.
Dom gives me Hey Arnold vibes.
It melted my heart.
It was, and then it melted Shannon's heart.
It sure did.
Shannon, who famously she didn't say it. They started it. Lewis started it. Famously does not like skinny dweeby men who are like 22 or whatever, but was enamored by his performance.
I don't know if he's going to Hollywood. I know he's going to Shannon's bedroom after that.
Dom got hot. Dom got hot.
Yes.
And it was great. He fucking nailed it. They even let him do more than 2 verses. Usually they cut us off like halfway through the song. They let him keep going. And nailed it. Fucking nailed it. And then I had a few too many and was like, does anyone want to keep doing karaoke after this?
We got the movies, the TV.
And so I did it. Karen did it. Shannon, even though she had already taken her Ambien, couldn't sleep, came out.
We got a good Chambion performance.
We got a bunch of great Chambion performances. Shannon, Karen, John, Dom was in and out. Jake was in and out.
Jake was higher than I've ever seen him in his life.
Jake was fucked up in a great way. The energy was good. My favorite were doing Killing Me Softly with Shannon and Karen and doing Scenes from an Italian Restaurant with Dom.
That was beautiful.
Were you there for that?
Yeah.
He suggested it, and I went, "That's a really long song. Are you sure you want to do it?" And he's like, I'm prepared.
I love Brenda and Eddie.
And then, doing Tempted by Squeeze with John. I always want to do Tempted at karaoke, but I'm afraid that no one's going to know it. And it started to play, and John was like, "I'm joining you for this one." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, you are." And it was fun as fuck. And Shannon and I did You and I by Lady Gaga, which was her suggestion. And she said, "I've always wanted to have Josh Adam Myers train me and do it at the goddamn Comedy Jam." And so she insisted that I film a video of us suggesting it and send it to Josh. And he kindly humored us.
We got to include that video.
Yes. So we can move on to Monday.
Well, we also that day, I believe, got ice cream.
Oh, yes. You did get ice cream.
We risked our lives for some ice cream. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I got Crunchy Munchy.
I did not
very
go.
Good.
At home, we were asking Shannon, which we ask every year, how attractive is Tom relative to everybody else who works for us. It was like me, Tom, and Becca, Paco, and Frank, I believe, and Shannon stayed home while everyone else went for ice cream, and that's what we talked about. How far was the ice cream?
It was a good distance, but it was worth it. I got Crunchy Munchy, and Ralph got cheesecake. He didn't even get an ice cream in Ralph fashion.
Very Ralph. Ralph drank. I rarely see Ralph drinking not on air.
So the next day, one of the funny things that I didn't even know it was funny until it was brought up to me was we were swimming in the ocean. Mm-hmm. And a fisherman came up to us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
with stuff in his boat. He was fishing for octopus, I think, right?
He caught an octopus. I think he was just grabbing whatever was down there. He had lots of huge shells.
And he had a starfish.
It was huge.
And what I asked that was made fun of was, what was he going to do with that starfish?
Meaning, like, do you eat them?
That's what I thought, or like I was like, I don't know, what are you gonna do with it? And then Alex was like, What do you think he's gonna do with it? He's gonna sell it. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess a starfish is more like a what? Damn it, never mind. I was thinking of the SpongeBob movie where they end up in the window, what the store was called, where they dry out in the window and then the tear saves them.
Oh yeah. But I was like, yeah, what are they gonna do with it? Fuck you.
Yeah. I had some good pool time with Becca that day. We were hanging out, chatting in the pool. I like any time talking to Becca that I get because I don't get it much at the studio.
Yeah.
Any other key points that day before the talent show?
So I threw, because I was so first of all, we came up with a thing on the first night where Tom kept making so many bad jokes that they started the Tom bomb, which is that we would do the Costco guys thing where we would do booms for how bad the joke was. Boom, boom, boom after the joke. And
Really bad joke.
yeah.
That was a good one.
And so I kept getting them. And because of that, I threw Natalie under the bus while we were eating breakfast. And I was like, she doesn't brush her teeth. And they were like, what?
Also not true.
I was like, she doesn't brush her teeth for very long. And then Lewis was like, stop throwing your girlfriend under the bus. And I was like, yeah.
True. Got my whole ass. But then I came back out and I was like, he sometimes only brushes his teeth once a day, which is so much worse.
Tom was floundering on the song choices, which was getting Lewis angry. So then Lewis also accused Tom of stealing his speaker 7 years ago.
That's so funny. And then Lewis admitted that he was incorrect, but he was like, if you didn't constantly lie to me, I wouldn't be accusing you like this. Yes. What else happened that day? I'm trying to remember. The big thing that day was the talent show.
Let's see.
Yeah, did we play anything during the day? Was that the day we played Frisbee?
Yes, we played Frisbee, and it was like the game where you call out the points and try to catch it, and if you catch it, you get that number of points, and we would switch who was throwing it at 500.
Right.
And so there was a point where G Mike looks at me, he throws it, he says 499, and then I caught it, and so then I had to just like play for 1 point the entire time and never got it again.
So funny. Very on brand.
Alex held underwater for a minute. Her breath.
Oh yeah, very impressive.
What else?
I had to actually work a little during the day that day, so that was kind of annoying.
The only other thing was Tom in regular fashion also was not nailing the drink directions at all. And it was also angering both Lewis and Shannon.
Yeah.
Because they would say the directions to him, and then 2 minutes later he would come back with the exact wrong thing.
Yeah. Very true.
They would be like, all right, no ice, and then he would come back with like rum and ice, and then he would come back with fucking vodka or something.
Yeah.
What else before the talent show? Anything else you can think of?
I really can't remember what we did that day. I remember just lounging by the pool quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I took a nap. I napped on the couch. It was awesome.
One other thing that happened during one of the days was John kissed Paco, or Paco kissed John. No,
On the
John
mouth?
kissed Paco on the mouth, yeah.
Why is there a gay kiss that I was not present for? How's that fair?
I don't know. We were just all hanging out.
That makes it so much worse. Talent show time?
Yeah.
Harrington's here. Should we get his opinion?
Let's hear him.
Harrington, are you busy? Sit here.
Well, first of all, we need to acknowledge how awesome your Salt Life cloak was. Is it a cloak? Is the best way to put it?
Dude, Lewis on the Friday Night Hang today called it a muumuu, which I very much take offense with. No, it's a poncho.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like a robe, but with no sleeves, but also not.
Whatever it was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I love that thing so much. Alex and I, we got
Cleared
that.
out the last of the Salt Life store.
We wrecked that Salt Life store, dude. It was a bad day to be a Salt Life store when Alex and I found out about a clearance sale. But it was like the last item I had on my like on the counter where I was like debating going back and forth, and Alex was like, "Yo, you are gonna regret it so hard if you do not get that." And there's a reason she's the mother of my child.
Yeah.
Like she's never wrong about
makes
something
great
like
points.
that. Yeah, that thing is. That thing's going down in the history books of beachwear. It's incredible.
When we get into the bioluminescent bay, I needed one of those.
Yeah, right?
I would have loved one of those because it is absorbent.
Yo, I was so hyped to get in it, but at that point in the trip, like I wore it exclusively anytime there was like a chance I might. Anytime there was a bathing suit on, the towel poncho's on. So it was a thing where like by bioluminescent bay time,
It was soaked and
it was like
stinky.
No, it wasn't stinky, but it wasn't absorbing the way I liked it to. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like you're sitting on a wet towel at this point.
Right. So we're about to get into the talent
Before
show.
we
I want you
do-
to lead this. Oh, sure.
Because he's here, I wanted to talk about the last night I had, and we all know I do have a little bit of control issues. I'm sure you know that.
Okay.
And the last night I suggested we play a card game called Asshole.
Yes.
However, you had a lot more rules than my family did when I played, and it was getting me a little triggered because I was high and confused by the extra rules.
Okay.
If you noticed.
I'm sorry. That is how like
I liked it. I eventually started liking it, but at first I was
Yeah.
getting annoyed that I wasn't good at the game because I couldn't figure out the rules.
that's
I liked the trivia angle.
Yeah.
That he did not show me that when he taught me how to play this.
So yeah, that's like again, that's just my friends and I would do. My friends and I who like kind of I became a degenerate gambler with. Like that was our thing. We wouldn't play poker. Like
Right.
they would drink. I wasn't even drinking. But that was like the entire party would just be. How many beers can we get down while we're playing card? Like it's pregame
Sure.
every time. So I'm pretty versed in that, and that became. Like that was always my favorite part of the game was the trivia.
Yeah, I like the trivia, and it was mostly like game specific, trip specific, or gas specific trivia, which I enjoyed as well.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's kind of what it always turns into on a trip because it's
Yeah.
like you get so bored. Like I can't ask a sports question. I like movie questions are kind of iffy even. So it's like, what do I know that at two people? What can I throw out that have the best chance of two people going blah, 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 at the same time?
yeah.
Which is always the most fun of trivia.
Yeah, for sure.
But you did enjoy it.
I did. You didn't notice me and Natalie kind of barking at each other during it?
No,
We were barking in general that evening because we were also. Should we get into day 3 and then hold the talent show for after this?
Sure.
So this is last day stuff. We were barking at each other during what are the odds also.
Okay.
Because he was like, I was trying to help him when he was gonna jump in the pool and he was just not hearing me, and that just like started us off into like barking at each other.
So what are the odds is a game
And then he
where
was getting really mad during asshole.
Dude, when I tell you what are the odds, that might be the new best game I've
Good
ever
one.
seen.
It's a good one, and no one was participating. And then fucking, what was it? Paco was like, what are the odds that Frank kisses me? And they got it, and then Frank refused to do it. And then what was the,
So the game is that Paco would say, what are the odds of this? And the person in that, the contestant would have to say a number between 1 and 50 just to make it easy.
Right.
And if they got the same number, they would have to do that task.
thing, yeah.
So, for instance, what are the odds you chug the rest of that Celsius?
1 in 50.
1 in 50?
Seriously?
Really? That's crazy. Like, oh, there is a lot in there.
All right, 1 in 50, go for it.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
12.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to do
But
it.
if we had
That's
both
close,
said
though.
8,
Yeah.
I would have
Right.
had to chug it.
So
The
that's
one
what
that
we were
I
playing.
got. And the one that I got was doing a cannonball
In your
in my
underwear.
underwear in the pool. And why did I choose 33? I mean, he
then he
saw
also-
me
Larry
dead
Bird
to
fan.
rice. What?
Dead to rice?
Yeah.
Because it's
to rice?
Paco?
What does dead to rice mean?
Oh,
Funnier
dead.
because it's
Yeah.
Paco.
Yeah, the also, by the way, you, Tom, and I think Paco, because anytime Paco has an excuse to get in his underwear, he will,
Right.
all did a cannonball together, and so much water came out of the pool. The area where we were playing asshole for the rest of the night was soaked.
Inside the
Because
villa.
the windows were a little open.
You gotta
Yeah.
let that beach air in.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Talent
yes,
show.
talent show time. How we rolling?
Favorite to least favorite for you guys? Or do we want to talk about your talent first?
Let's talk about your talent first. Because you're here.
mean,
I don't want to take up too much
Your
of your time.
partner really flopped.
Yeah, my talent.
The idea was fantastic.
I love the idea.
My talent is consistently trusting Tom when I know I shouldn't.
Yes.
Like I even worked that into the
I have the list because Lewis ended up sending us the scores.
Yes.
So I have them in front of me so we don't forget anybody.
we again they did this on the hang this week and made sure to point out that one of the few people that I did better than was you.
It was me, yes, that's correct. I very clearly phoned it in.
Yes.
I went, here is an activity that I can do that takes little to no effort and no actual skill or performing. I tried last year and I flopped badly, and I did not want to do that
Okay,
again.
so you want to tell people what you did?
So I went pretty early. I knew I was going to go early. I was like, here's a light one that the better people can then go after, and it leaves us with that, right? I was like, if I go at the end, my score's going to be so much worse. In The Breakfast Club, there's a scene where Molly Ringwald puts on lipstick with her tits. And I went, I can absolutely do that. And I had more or less never done it before I got to Jamaica, and practiced it maybe 3 times. I'm glad that I brought 3 different bras, because the one that worked was not the one that I thought was going to work. And kind of nailed it. But it was silent. I should have had a music cue or something, which I did not even occur to me until I got up there.
So Kevin Smith says to this day the biggest regret of his directing career is the fight scene in Mallrats between Ben Affleck and Jason Lee.
Okay.
Was in a hallway silently. You could hear the punches, and he's like, "This is a comedy. Never in a comedy should you have
Real punches.
somebody getting beat up with nothing
Elements,
behind it,
yeah.
anything. That's just way too bare bones." So I felt that it was just awkward for us to look at you. Molly Ringwald did one fucking figure 8, and her lips were good. It's a movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a movie, but
I haven't seen it in a while.
so if you had the song from that scene,
Right.
Yeah, you need
nailed it in one,
Right.
and had a Molly Ringwald wig on,
That's funny.
you're gonna get at least 4s across the board.
Right. I did not. Also, the song from that movie was not what came into my head. I think a funnier song would have been the song from Ferris Bueller. Oh yeah, by Yellow.
Oh
Yeah. I think that would have been
True.
funnier. Because the scene, the song from that movie is not the song from that scene, but a song
A song.
would have been the movie.
A song would have played.
Who went first?
First up was Brandon.
First up
With
was
an original
Brandon,
song.
and he did an original song. Balls.
Very
the-
Drake-esque.
In the same vein, year 1 Jamaica, G Mike gets up, did an original poem.
Right. Which was not even his real skill. It ended up being 69ing with Paco.
Yeah.
He only did that poem because to throw everyone off his trail.
And you know what? Nailed it.
Nailed it. Exactly.
I still think of that poem to this day.
Paul says he could throw a baseball clear over a stadium. He really said that.
What?
Okay. Jake was next, probably.
Yes,
Saying
no,
thank
Jake
you
was
in every
definitely
language.
next, saying thank you while rolling a joint in 1 minute, failing to do both.
Both. He said he could say thank you in every language or any language we give to him, and missed half of them, and was so focused on coming up with them that he was not, he lost track of how much is a minute. Sorry, let us know whenever you got to get out of here.
No, I'm just trying to find out where the hell Fega is, because he told me to meet him here at 7.
Hilarious.
And it's 7:20.
It is. Third was me, and we've discussed mine already. Who was next? Wait, hold on.
I believe it was Shannon was after.
There was one between me and Shannon, and it was
Mike, Shannon.
Was it-
I was after Nat.
I know.
Oh, I missed yours. So you were right after.
Oh shit. Okay.
So go into it.
I did a one-man show on the origin of my nickname.
Incredible.
It was
liked
it was
it?
great. From
It
what
was
I heard,
high
it was,
art, dude.
Thanks.
It was my favorite.
there was costume changes. Like like he played both parts, but he
Dude,
would take a hat off
there-
and put another hat on.
There was a part where, we'll get into it, but I made fun of, Becca got me to say something mean about Frank, and so he made fun of me, and he was like, all you did was wabbit season, duck season, wabbit season, and you couldn't even get it right.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, there was one moment where you sat down with the hat on, and I was like, Mike, come on, dude. You were
stick the
batting 1,000.
landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that,
He got cum in his eye.
loved every second of it. Don't know why you actually hurt yourself.
Because
Like,
I wanted to up the ante with the pain.
none of us knew.
You're not Paco.
Yeah, you're not Paco, and none of us knew what was coming. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like none of us. I couldn't see what it was. It didn't look like cum coming into your eye. It just looked like a liquid.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was your actual medical eye drops, and I was excited. I was like, oh, you remember to take them.
No, it was the opposite. He's
no.
undone years of those eye drops.
Yeah,
work.
dude, those things are delicate. You're doing it for a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's a one-man show which has to show personal internal pain, and so I had to show that in the
External
performance.
pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do external pain.
Did you like? Was the finishing line? Did it land?
The eye
It
chart
did.
was very funny. The finishing land stuck the landing.
He did stick the landing.
See straight, dude.
I caught that.
That was
I
in-
left halfway through helping Shannon.
Incredible.
I'm glad you liked it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, all right, keep going because I have some issues.
Next was Shannon.
With the staff meeting with her titties.
Titty staff meeting was very funny.
Yes. She told me that in advance. Each of her tits was Ralph and Lewis, and
They were
Ralph
doing the meeting.
was Frankenstein, so he's green.
Dude,
and
the-
Lewis was just a
The
mustache and
TV
glasses.
line was classic.
The TV line was classic. What was the other one? And Lewis being like, "Did you check the Z drive?" It was incredible.
Yeah, dude, I lost the TV. Did you check the Z drive?
Oh, just check the Z drive. It was really good. It was really good, and it was very funny. And she had me paint green onto one of her tits, so that was pretty fun for
You
me.
got to touch Shannon's titties?
Yes, I did. That was fun.
Nice.
Next up,
Was it Becca?
let's say it was Becca. We don't have to go.
So
completely in
eye
order.
contact was hilarious. Making eye contact with everyone was great.
She said, "I'm going to make 2 seconds of eye contact with everyone in the room." That was one that I'm like, people have really stepped up this year.
Yeah.
Because usually she sings and it goes halfway. This was very funny, and as the judges pointed out, clearly very difficult for her, and she did it anyway.
I mean, she went for it.
She really did go for it. Okay, Paco.
I was so fucking.
I was so angry.
Oh,
Okay, so we
dude.
gotta do you first.
Okay.
And then Pop, because the timing matters.
Yeah, because I'm just.
So go into yours.
Fuck. All right. So you know, ever since Aura's been super into Sesame Street, I've just noticed I can do an Ernie voice pretty well, right?
Which the second thing that we've mentioned on this episode that Lewis pinpointed perfectly.
I think I told him. I genuinely
Okay.
do believe I've told. I know I told you this. I
Yes.
was like, I've been practicing it on Aura for a year,
Right,
so
right.
I'm very excited. And I had this idea. I mean, Tom, when I was a little kid, when I was like a baby, one of my first like toys that I loved was a Bert doll, right? And Tom looks
Just like it.
exactly like he's come to life Bert.
Yes,
You know what I mean? Like
100%.
that's just who he is. So in my mind, I had this like,
You're like perfect casting.
I'm Ernie, right?
Yeah.
I know I can nail Ernie. Like you know, when they say like every comedy pairing needs an orange shaped man and a banana shaped man, I've
You're the
accepted
orange
my
shape.
lot as the orange shaped man, right? Like I know that. So I was like, okay, I know I can nail this. I just need Tom to like play the straight man, set up a couple of bits, and we'll keep it moving, right? So I write this script. It's like very simple. It's like, hey
Sorry, I'm
guys,
thinking of something that Tom said that I'm waiting for the right moment to interject with.
the
There's
whole
Chris. You're gonna have to get out of here.
the
in a
whole
second.
thing is we're on a work retreat. Ernie wants to relax, have a good time on this work retreat. Bert is like, no, like let's
work.
focus on our goals. Hey, Blind Mike, what's your goal for the year, right?
Right.
And like actually get into it, and then have me Just like be like, yeah, but like, chilling is also a goal.
Yeah.
Right? Like stuff like that.
There were a lot of pages in that script.
There was 4 pages.
Okay.
I wanted to land a pratfall.
I forgot about the pratfall.
Did you actually land like he catches you?
No. So like I
Like,
wanted
land
to be
on the
like,
ground.
oh yeah, I heard trust exercises are a big part of it. You just whoop and then do it before anybody gets a chance to catch me.
Right.
Like, have that be the thing.
You did nail that.
Yeah.
And then just end it as a like I think we've all learned like a good lesson. Have like a one-liner on the way out. John made a very good point. It should have been just Sexual Tension, the musical.
That did not even occur to me. That would be so
just
funny.
Playing it super gay
Super
would have
gay,
been the
extra
smart
gay.
idea, but I'm not funny.
And also, I don't remember who pointed it out. One of Tom's ad libs, because neither of you could see the script, was "Come on, let's just go out and get some pussy." Famous things that Bert has said. Obviously, the gayest Muppet of all time.
Let's just get some pussy.
Yeah, he did. He wrote character to say. Well, no. So I had this whole script. It was a simple like he's got to lay down 3 beats. I do 3 things. We get out of there.
Yeah.
Right. Instead, he goes as we're walking out. He goes, "Let's just ad lib it." And then he goes, "I'll say something about a keynote speech."
And then he also goes, wait, am I Bert or Ernie?
Multiple times. And then as we're going out, I'm like, "Yeah, man, you are Bert. Like,
Yeah.
yo, you're Bert. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in character.
I'm in
Ernie.
character.
I'm Ernie."
Dude,
And he just kept forgetting which one he was.
and then you trying to like give him trying to give him notes in Ernie voice was so funny. Be like, "No, Bert, actually, I think you should do this," and him just not getting the memo.
Yeah, narrowly beat me by 0.25 points.
Oh man, worth it.
And then Paco. And then you can get out of here and
then
take care of Chris.
I came out. I was not able to get this orange makeup
was
off for
very
about
orange.
2 hours.
Oh, also when you fell, your wig fell off, and that was very funny.
That was
I
good.
liked that a lot.
Yeah, the spirit gum did not hold.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm sitting
Is
there.
that a literary quote? The center does not hold.
I looked like I was red mad because Paco's whole talent was just he came out and broke an egg on the floor.
Yeah, which he did last time. Literally the last time we were in Jamaica, he did a bunch of physical, not even stunts. People hurt him, and that was his talent. People would come up and hurt him. Zach type shit involving cracking a raw egg in his mouth, and then he spits it on the ground, and then while they're judging them, he goes, "If I licked that egg off the ground, would I get more points?" And they're like, "I don't know, why don't you try?" And then he licked the egg off the ground, and it was disgusting.
Yeah.
And he just did that again. And then his
Maybe got half a
punchline
point.
every round was "egg on my face," which is the only funny part about it, in my opinion. And except at the end, he would hit in between the eggs and did not break any
Yeah, he
eggs.
just
He said
headbutted
it
the
anyway.
floor 3 times.
Which I will say, props to him for not doing like a wrestling bump. He actually did knock his head into the ground.
No, he needs to come up with an actual talent and stop hurting himself.
Regardless, I could care less if he puts himself in fucking traction. Stop making my living room smell like fucking
Raw eggs,
dude.
it was disgusting.
That's crazy.
It was just you and Frank were on the same page about that, which is like gross. Fucking clean that up.
Frank
You're
was not
gross.
staying there. Like this
No,
was
yeah.
our house to party in and sleep
Right,
in.
right.
And our living room smelled like fucking eggs for
Yeah,
like
it was
until
gross.
he came in and cleaned it up by hand.
It was gross.
Oh, I was so angry at
It
him.
was. I hated it too.
I was orange mad.
You were orange. You were orange with anger. G Mike went a similar route.
And Ralph cheated.
And Ralph cheated. No, also, so G Mike came in and said, "Do you have to go?"
Yes. Let
All
me
right.
go jump on Goon.
Cool.
Thank you for
good
Thanks for
night,
coming
y'all.
in.
Peace.
What other talents? Yeah, talk about waterboarding.
Okay, so, and now I'm a little off because there we go. G Mike then referred to the fact that the first time we ever did a talent show, Paul taught us how to waterboard, and he said, "I guarantee that I can tolerate being waterboarded longer than anyone in this room." And apparently, I was the only person in the room who saw that and went, "The bit is that he's going to give up immediately. Why is anyone scared right now about waterboarding for too long?
I
As
didn't get
soon
it.
as they drip water on his face, he's going to go, I'm out. It's G-Mike. He did tequila for karaoke. Like, have none of you met G-Mike before? But then this guy was the second person. Can you bring your chair down? I threw off your framing here. And Ralph waterboarded him, and then Frank waterboarded G-Mike.
And Frank was acting like he was on Guantanamo Bay. Like, he really
got into
gave
character.
G-Mike the business, and it seemed like his favorite part of the trip.
Yeah,
seemed like that was his vacation.
Yeah, that was his vacation. Also the password that they had to say, like the safe word, was Lewis is gay.
And Ralph did not waterboard me well at all. I mean, he didn't hold down the towel. I could breathe through my nose.
Yeah.
I had no problem.
It was pretty clear.
But also, even with him cheating, I hated it and did not enjoy waterboarding. I give it 0 stars.
0 stars. So we're getting into the good stuff now. I think we have everyone else except for the top 3, which were the last 3, I'm pretty sure. So Karen and John together did what Harrington and Tom wanted to do. They did a 2-person show with scripted lines in it, and it was incredible. Karen was Miss Cleo, and John was a patron of hers. And he made a bunch of questions. He asked her a bunch of questions all about the trip, all about, we got a shout out in it.
Yeah.
Which was pretty funny. And he was like, they say that they're dating, but I don't know if it's true. Are they telling us the truth? And he had a couple jokes in there. And
the joke was I saw them at breakfast put down a plate of fish, and Mike said, "I thought we already did that," or something like that.
Yeah, I told you I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
And he also said that we met on a blind date, but I don't know if I buy it, which was pretty good. And then she pulled up the lover's card and was like, it's true. It was great. She did the Miss Cleo voice. Call me now. She had the little head wrap. And it was very, very good. And they ended up getting second place. And
Alex did the hula hooping outside.
Right. Alex did the hula hooping. She was last. She had an illuminated, like a changing color hula hoop that she did a whole bunch of tricks with. There was actual hula hooping. She would like roll it from one arm to the other and jump through it and spin it around and throw it and catch it.
And my favorite part was that even though she stumbled a few times, she didn't let her stop her, and she just kept going, didn't even acknowledge that she slipped a few moments, and it was
like a figure skater in the Olympics.
Great.
It was so graceful. And or like Lewis's fucking story about eating at the goddamn Trump Tower that he talks about all the time. It's not about how many mistakes you make, it's how you come back from them. I was absolutely mesmerized. And she also picked what's the song called? Something about flying colors everywhere. It was awesome. She actually went last. She requested to be last. Second to last was Dom. And the night before, we said, someone pointed out, doing karaoke has ruined Dom's talent, because we knew he was going to sing during the talent show, and now we see it coming. However, he went in a great direction with it, and he dedicated it to Shannon. He said, "You said on TTI recently that there aren't enough men at this company," which was the one that we were on. And he's like, well, I'm hoping I can be that or whatever. And then he did Mandy by Barry Manilow, but instead he sang Shannon to her. And it was cute.
Shannon's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Shannon's heart grew 3 sizes that day. That's for sure. And it was awesome, and he was great. And yeah, fucking nailed it. And then he ended up winning. Karen and John got second, and Alex got third, I believe. And then Dom got a chant of his name.
And he was the king of Jamaica, and he got Ralph's room when he left the next
Yes, yeah, he did. And $400 for winning first place.
So the last few things that I have here are...
Well, we got to go into that night, because that night was the question. I did a bunch of mushrooms that day. I don't know what you did. You did a middle amount of mushrooms. I was talking to John a bunch. I got a whole bunch of John lore.
Oh, did you?
It was awesome. And John just talked and talked
great.
and talked. And I loved every second of it. And me and Paco were like hanging on his every word like this.
I was.
Oh, we talked for a while too. Hey, guy. It's Jorge. Oh? Why do you have 2 sandwiches? He's making very serious eye contact with me. So that night we all did
I was on enough mushrooms where I was going through it in my own head. Like I was seeing it, not in a bad way, in a good way.
Oh, I thought you
But I was
say going
still-
through it. I assume that means bad.
No, I was just mentally working through myself in my head.
That's good.
But because of that, I was in and out of thought. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
And so it would be it was literally like the last time we were at Jamaica where like we would be having a discussion and we'd look over at Tom and he was saying something crazy but yet still the same conversation we heard him
Yes.
saying 15 minutes before. That's how it was sitting there listening to John, because I would just kind of zone out and think about my own things, and I would come back and you'd be like, and so a woman then sat on my face, and I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, literally. He was telling us all about the 80s. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know why the mushrooms in Jamaica have 2 for 2 been the best ones that I've
Agreed.
ever had.
Agreed 100%.
Why? Where do they get them? It's crazy.
The
They're
ground.
it's like next level shit. And it was the perfect framing of like really high for like 2 hours and then down for 1 hour, and then it was completely out of my system before I went to bed. It was perfect. Although I went to change at a point, and the experience of me going back to my room by myself to change was like being in a first-person video game.
Really?
Yeah, it was so funny because I would be like looking at my hands and it would be far away, and I'd be like, and then there, for some reason, there was like a fruit that had been dropped on the ground, and there were like seeds all over, and I was like, what is that? And I would look at it. I'd be like, huh, weird. It was like, remember the POV videos from College Humor?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
It was very funny.
I kind of, maybe this is off-air talk, but I would at some point actually like to do a mushroom trip with just you.
I would love that. I think that would be really fun. Yeah, and then
So while this is happening, everyone, Becca, G, Mike, and Frank are just sitting in the corner cooking up these
cooking.
crazy hypotheticals.
Cooking.
One of them was I walk over to the table and Becca goes, "Ooh, so if you had to have your if you had to have your nightmare naked roast with only people from this trip, what would that be?" It was one of those things where I was just looking around, just like picking the first people I saw that I wouldn't, and I would just went Harrington and Frank.
Right.
And then I don't know why I said this next, but I went Frank. They would crumble.
Yeah.
And that got Frank actually angry.
I agree, and I've been you before, which is like you just say shit and then you go foot and mouth. Why did I say that?
And I didn't even
that.
mean it, really.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm also, when Frank judges the talent show, I remember thinking it in advance. Like, before that even happened, I remember thinking, Frank always, every person that goes in the talent show, Frank always has a banger one-liner about their performance.
And he's really funny.
And he tries
in
really
person.
hard, and yeah, I can see, like, I'm not blaming you, but I can see why he would be like, take that personally.
And I was just thinking, like, Frank would not be comfortable naked was my thought.
Yeah.
But I just said it wrong, and
Right.
then he was like, crumble, Mike, crumble.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. And then I walked away.
Yeah. I said Dom and Brandon, by the way, because I think we've gassed up.
You see?
We've gassed up Dom too much on this trip. We've given him too much of an ego. We were reading his jokes out loud on the first night, and we've just gassed him up too much. And he's like, "I'm the man now," and he would go up to this.
We got to
roast.
talk about his one joke in the joke book, which was IPA, more like shit. That was incredible.
So I remember going before it had fully sculpted. By the way, they talked about this for, I shit you not, 4 hours.
4 hours, and then after everyone heard it, another 2.
And then after everyone had heard it, another 2. I guarantee this one conversation took up hours.
So we can talk about this.
Yes, we can talk about, because this is going to come out in another week. So I go over and I'm not nutso on mushrooms anymore. I'm just regular. I'm giggly. Nothing crazy. I go over and Becca and G Mike and Frank are talking about it, and they go. They didn't even ask me small house, big house. They go. If I think Becca or G Mike breaches it to me and goes, you find a hard drive. In it are 10,000. Is it 10,000 or 100,000?
10,000 Bitcoin.
10,000 Bitcoin. And she confirmed it. Yes, 10,000 Bitcoin. Each Bitcoin is valued at $78,000. If you want to take them out, you then have to watch 1 hour of child, which is also on this hard drive.
For 1 Bitcoin.
For 1 Bitcoin, how many hours are you watching? And then it devolves from there. I started by saying 1 hour, I would get 78 grand, I would pay off my student loans, and I don't think I would be able to tolerate more than that. And then they even say first hour, then they say first hour is 1817, and it gets worse from there.
After 3 hours, they can't guarantee what it'll be.
And I still said 1 hour.
Then,
what did you say?
So I said 25 million.
Which is how many hours?
Like
more than 24.
Yeah. Maybe a week or so. So
they also calculated how many days it would be, which I don't remember, and how much money that is total.
Let me calculate it, and then I'll say the other stipulations.
Yes. And the idea came from a show, which I did not learn until much later. They kept saying, "Who's in my mouth?" And I go, "What does the who's in my mouth have to do with anything?" And they go, No. This came from a show idea in which you have guests on and you ask them increasingly uncomfortable questions. And if you refuse to answer a question, you have to play Who's in My Mouth, where they turn off the lights and it could be either G Mike or Becca, random body part. And that's how you have to play. Do you have all of the layers?
It would be about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. He would sit and watch for 2
approximately
weeks.
2 weeks. And so, well, all right. So that actually started, I think, earlier in the night where we were going to play a game. Paco wanted to play a game where it was called Who's in My Mouth. And he would have to randomly between the 6 people that were sitting there, and Becca would be the only girl. Paco would have to guess whose nipple was Becca's.
Oh.
And it would be a 1 in 6 shot that it would be a girl's.
I missed
nipple.
that entirely.
But some of the other stipulations for the Bitcoin question were the more you watched, the more likely it was that a family member.
So one of the hours becomes a family member, but you don't know when it is.
And the longer you do it, the more likely it is to be a family member.
Right. Then they had the idea. So you have to tell liar rules. It comes out of you, whether you want to or not. Anytime you spend money, you have to tell them that that's how you got the money. And they alternated between being either you're locked in a room watching this, or you can watch it at your leisure, and how that would affect it. And then
the later you get in the game, also, like by the last hours or so, it starts to be underage material of you, and you start remembering the doctor, the
therapist you talked to, the memories come back. You're starting to remember it as you're watching it. And then the alternate ending was you, child.
Yeah.
And you remember that it's your hard
This
drive.
is for YouTube. It's.
Well, I figure we would censor all of those words.
Oh, okay.
And
then you remember that it was your hard drive and you were doing this to yourself.
Right. Or a third alternate ending, they bring a child in and you make it for the next person.
Yeah, and G Mike said he would go all the way through.
He was like, I'm taking my $600 million or whatever it is, getting all of it.
Tom said he would do it twice, and the second time he wanted to live stream it.
And he also said that he would buy back some of it.
Yeah.
I stand by my answer because everyone was like, what are you even going to do with $78,000? And they were making fun of me for starting at zero, evening out. And I'm like, no, I'm paying off money that will realistically take me in real life 20 years to pay off. I'm starting fresh. I'm watching 1 hour.
But you still have the liar rules.
Well, they didn't introduce that to me when they asked it to me.
Doesn't matter. It's still part of the rules now. You
Well,
still
I
stick
tell
by your decision.
I tell Sally Mae once. And then they also had the bonus question, which is if you get pulled over and they offer you the option of paying it off right now, do you tell the cops or do you go to jail?
Well, they don't believe you. That was the idea.
So we were this kind of feels like you had to be there.
Can I explain my answer though?
Sure.
So 25 million, I'm already in it. So if I'm going to be in it, I need to be able to live comfortably and also have a staff that I can pay off once, I guess, a lump sum to pay off once so that they can then financially make my payments for me so then I don't have to do the liar rules.
I said I would just pretend to have Tourette's.
Mike said he would do it sarcastically. Oh yeah, I got this money from child.
By the way, Becca
But-
texted me specifically to say that the whole thing started with Frank's idea, even though he doesn't claim it.
Yeah.
This is the more we tell this, the more it starts to seem like a you
Can
had
I
to be there thing
finish
that's
my
not
answer?
funny. Cool, go for it.
25 million also is not the whole thing, so I can subconsciously convince myself that because I didn't finish it, that I have some kind of moral reasoning that, like, I have the comfortability of knowing that I didn't complete it. And I think that's a good answer. That I still have enough money that, like, it was worth it to watch such horrific material, but also I have the comfortability of knowing that I didn't do the full thing. I think that's a good place to be, right?
Why is watching the whole thing more morally objected than watching a week of it?
Because I'm doing a less amount of harm than I could have, that I have the option of that.
You're not creating the. It's all on there. All of the moral issues have been done.
I know, but it's like a hangover. I drank my water while I was drinking instead of just drinking until I black out.
I think it's crazy to say that watching a week of Child is morally better than watching 2 weeks of Child or whatever.
I'm just saying, in my head, that's how I would work it out. Like, well, at least I didn't do the full thing. At least I have some kind of...
But you're saying do the full thing as if you're creating it. You're just watching it. You still watched a whole bunch of it.
Sure, but
and
I
didn't report it.
But I know that there was more and I didn't go there.
Yeah, but that's just for your own sense of like fewer horrifying things that you had to subject yourself to.
Right, yeah, it's selfish.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
but I'm
it
still
is.
saying I have the comfortability of... I can sleep at night a little better than if I did the full thing.
I disagree. I can't. I don't think that that's any morally better, and I think G-Mike would back me up
Not
on that.
morally, but I can sleep at night more.
Okay. I almost feel like the more you watch, the more desensitized you would be to it. You're in that sweet spot, which is like, wow, I watched that for a week. That was really horrible, and I have a week's worth of memories of all of that.
Yeah, but it's not... It's just enough time that it's only a week, and I can sleep knowing that I didn't... Like...
Comment below if you agree with me or if you agree with Mike here.
Like, I wasn't a pig about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I wasn't getting greedy.
Right.
I was only in it to become rich, but I wasn't greedy and did the full thing.
Right.
You know?
No, but we can agree to disagree.
You don't get it.
No, I don't. I don't think I would be able to stomach more than an
You're just
hour.
in it for the...
You're projecting bad. I think we have a whole day left that we haven't talked about.
Really?
And it's an hour 20.
I don't have much more.
Ralph left the next... Let's just cut to tomorrow. Ralph... Oh, and then the other hypothetical that they did was, would you be on life support for 1 year in a catatonic state where you were conscious but unable to move, and to survive for a year you had to survive on IV drip of cum straight to the mouth? Would you do it or die right now? So think about that one at home while we move on to day 4.
Just the bioluminescent bay, right?
Pretty much. We hung out at the.
Oh, that night, I will say, me and Natalie had a very romantic walk on the beach.
Oh yeah, that past night while we were on mushrooms, the night before we walked on the beach, and it was really cute.
It was really cute and romantic.
It was nice. last day, I wanted to kind of be dry, more or less. I went in the pool a little bit.
Not when I saw you, heyo.
Heyo. Stupid. I remember hanging out in the pool, and Alex was talking to Paco about like how to establish your place here and how to like make friends with people and like be confident and stuff like that. And it was a fun conversation over here. Mike asked people like who their comedians that they
Mentors.
look up, mentors, yes, who their comedian mentors were. Because Alex has Tim Butterly, who is like both a friend and a mentor to her. And she's like, I want to facilitate what he facilitates for people as far as like being comfortable and being a good hang and like, you know, making people feel nice.
You said Zach.
I said Zach. I knew what Mike was going to say. Mike said Dave Temple, which are both incredible choices, I think.
Yeah.
People that are worth looking up to.
What else? Bioluminescent Bay.
That night.
Underwhelming.
So we had our last dinner. You know, dinner was chill. We had incredible food all of the nights. We went to the Bioluminescent Bay afterward, which was a bay where if you move in it, it glows. Something to do with the microorganisms and
He said Captain Jerry said it was phosphorus.
yes, in the bay that causes it to glow. The photos are crazy. I'll put them in here. It did look like that. I was unsure if I wanted to swim, and I let Alex say I told you so when it was awesome, and I loved swimming in it.
It was pretty cool. I was also nervous about swimming in it, and I did it, and it was pretty cool.
It
because
was
you saw
awesome.
your arm moving white in the water, which
Right.
was nice.
It was really nice. We go on the Oh, also,
We played Truth or Dance.
we played Truth or Dance, and it was the right amount of mean and pointed.
We were all bullying each other.
It was perfect. Everyone got one.
We
more
asked
or less.
Paco, who is the last comedian he DM'd.
He got female comedian. He slid into the DMs of, and he couldn't remember one. Mike chose to dance instead. You were the only person that chose to dance.
Okay, I'll
You don't have to
justify
do-
my
you
answer
don't have to-
here.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Frank
asked Mike.
Frank asked me if I would ever have a Natalie with baby.
Quite a
I'm so nervous about the question.
quite a Freudian slip.
Frank
I
asked.
am baby.
Yeah. Frank asked if I would ever have a Natalie with.
Not twice. Frank asked Mike if he would ever see himself having kids with me.
And my answer would be, I think Natalie would be a really good mom, but we're just not. We're taking it step by step.
Yeah, unclear, as I would say.
Just, I would, but we don't know. Like,
We don't know if that's in the cards.
we need to actually flesh our relationship out before we make any decisions.
Sure. And so he chose to dance. Alex was asked who her favorite person at GaS was, and she chose 3 people. She couldn't decide between 3 people, and then we made her fuck,
Wait,
marry,
fuck,
kill
marry,
between the 3 of them.
And what else did we ask?
I asked Brandon to rank the females.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
The women on the trip from most to least attractive.
Brutal.
And
And we danced.
we danced. We did some dancing.
John was doing the cha-cha slide.
Yeah, there was one poor chick doing the cha-cha slide on the little stage they had while in the waiting area, and
We'll include it here.
One up this time. One up this time. Right foot, 2 steps. Left foot, 2 steps. Slide to the left. Boom. Slide to the right.
yeah, Bioluminescent Bay. We got back. I did some dessert for the first time,
Oh.
which is one of the substances.
And it made her feel tingly.
Not really. It didn't. The problem is that Shannon had a kind of a bad time the night before, and so they were very cautious with it. And so, I had what Alex said in advance. She was like, "You're gonna need more than this." So we split it, and then I did need more than that. And the only thing I ended up feeling was kind of warm and relaxed and
bubbly.
comfy, a little bubbly, but nothing crazy. Sleepy, but not sleepy at the same time. And so before that, we all played Mafia. And
G Mike was not a great host, in my opinion.
G-Mike was not a great host, in my opinion,
He
either.
kept butting in, playing jokes. I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. And I sat out for the first one, but then the second one I played I was a townsperson, and I ended up being correct at the end. I was one of the last civilians left. And,
Paco and Tom become nerds about that game in an annoying and not fun way.
and not fun way. Agreed. Paco ruined that game, and I'll go on air and say that because it was me, Paco, and Becca kind of working together, and Paco was like, we have to think hard and not vote anyone off. And that ended up fucking us. And
Yeah.
then Becca and I teamed up at the end, and she was like, I'm pretty sure it's John and Dom. And it was. And so I had to hold down the fort for her at the end because then she died and I got Dom out. And he was Mafia. I'm glad I stuck with it.
Yeah.
Then we played what you call President, what they call Asshole.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier with Harrington. And it was pretty fun. And we were getting a little heated about it, but not in a bad way. And then me and Alex had a really awesome, really long tea sesh in the corner and snuggled. And then you came over and joined us, and then Harrington came over and joined us too.
Very sweet.
We talked for a really long time. It was like a little sleepover, and it was perfect. And then we didn't even go to bed all that late in the grand scheme of things. I think it was like 2:30, something like that.
It was a great end to the trip.
It was beautiful. That morning we were tense. We had an early breakfast. We hauled ass out of there. And the airport was fine.
Oh, we didn't talk about the key freak out.
Which key freak out? Remind me.
Where we were going to the bioluminescent bay, and I thought that the staff was locking up our villa, and so I was like, "Who has it?" And then we all yelled at each other.
It was worth, as G-Mike put it, and then G-Mike apologized for because G-Mike raised his voice, and that made me raise my voice. And then when we got to the bay, G-Mike patted me. It was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. I was just yelling because no one was giving me any information. And I said, I feel the same thing. He was like, when someone goes, where's the key? And we all go, we'll figure it out later. We should probably figure it out now. So you guys were both correct to be concerned, I think.
Yeah.
No one cares about this.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say before I'm done with everything I have about Jamaica was on the plane back, I was sitting next to Dom, and I was sleeping the entire flight. And when I sleep, I can't beat the Chihuahua allegations here because I drool.
He's prone to drooling.
And I drooled on my tray a couple times, and I'm sure he caught me doing like a this.
We should ask him the next time he's in studio if he really did.
Embarrassing.
Yes. My flight was fine. I had my annual Uber back home with Frank because we lived near each other, and then Tom was also in this one. And I had an incredible smoothie in the airport. We bought Jorge his presents, and yeah, it was all smooth sailing, all the traveling. The worst part about going to Jamaica over the Poconos is the travel. I hate going through customs. I really hate it, and it was very, very smooth.
Oh yeah, on the way back, the customs guy was like, because he asked what my business was in Jamaica, and I said vacation, and he's like, "Who'd you go with?" And I was like, "My company," and he was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Oh, a retreat."
Yeah. I usually I was prepared to say some friends, but they didn't even ask me. They just asked me if I had more than $10,000 of currency or livestock, and I said no, and then they let me through. Yeah. How long did it take you to get home? Like, what time did you get home yesterday?
I landed at 6 and I got home at 8.
Makes sense. I got home at 7, so not all that different. Did you get sunburn at all? I was very I don't look tan. Nope. I was very diligent about my face. I was less diligent about my body, so I got it bad right here. It was great.
I didn't go in the water that much, so I was
Wooder. Let's get out of here.
Thank you so much for listening to us. And this trip wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for your support. So please subscribe to gasdigital.com and use promo code NOW to get a decent discount off of your membership. And follow us on the social media so we can keep growing, and that would be at GaS Digital on Instagram and Twitter, and the YouTube at GaS Digital Network. Subscribe there. I will be dropping a hot video about Jamaica, so keep tuned.
Yeah.
For that.
I'm hoping that by the time you guys see this, we can say subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hopefully if you're not subscribed, you are hopefully watching this on a GaS Digital Now YouTube channel. We are official. So definitely subscribe here as well. Follow me at Natalie DeCicco Edits on Instagram, DECICCO_edits.
Follow me at that Blind Mike on Insties.
Yeah. That's it. And thanks to viewers like you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cool. Bye, everyone.